The Bangladesh distribution upgrade project was approved in June last year. Since its approval, the project implementation goes very smoothly. By doing this project, we are going to provide 2.5 million service connections to the rural families. As we all understand, without electricity, people have a very difficult time, and cannot really improve their living standard. If every household can have 5 family members, that means 2.5 million service connections can bring direct benefits to more than 5.5 million people living in the rural areas in Bangladesh. That's going to create a very big social impact in the Bangladesh economic development. When we do projects, actually we conduct a lot of public consultation. We meet the rural people living in those poor villages, and also the people who may be affected by the project, particularly during construction. And the people's general understanding is they are going to be, to get some benefits from the project. That's why they are very supportive. I'll give you one example. When we conduct our project site visit in the north part of Dhaka, in a rural village, a very old lady came out and told us that without electricity, he dare not go outside during evening, because she worried about whether or not she is going to fall down and bring a lot of troubles and financial difficulties to his children. Another example is when we visit one primary school nearby, and the only thing the primary school had is 1 square meter size solar panel. Actually, for the kids, it's very difficult for them to read books and doing some study and finish their homework during evening. Also, a lot of children told us that without electricity they cannot really make any significant improvement in their education. So I think put all these things together, we really do believe by doing this project we can bring a lot of social benefits to Bangladesh, to the country, and also to its people.
Obviously, the scope and scale of the One Belt One Road is huge. You're talking here about almost 65 countries along the Belt and Road. $1.6 trillion is a massive amount of infrastructure finance that's required. The Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, which has $100 billion of capitalization, and the Silk Road Fund with $40 billion, these institutions should all be seen as a comprehensive set of institutions contributing to infrastructure development. They're not each individual initiatives that are not connected to each other. All of these institutions play a role in dealing with the funding gap in infrastructure.
I think the internationalization of the RMB is a good thing for China, and it's a good thing for the world. So also for the countries along One Belt, One Road, because China becomes a ever more important part of the international world, of the international trade, and hence its currency should become part of that trade as well. And I think again that will be very helpful to develop Chinese domestic capital markets and their link to the international capital markets. But I think it's an initiative like the One Belt, One Road. It's a different driver, but again it's exactly the same purpose, to develop infrastructure, to allow organized financing of that infrastructure in order to allow the economies where it is positioned to develop.
The One Belt, One Road initiative is definitely a good way where that influence can be brought to bear. Not just though for China's influence, but of course will assist in the development of a number of economies who will be around the region, and that funding for infrastructure will be beneficial in terms of the role that China plays, but also beneficial to the countries who will benefit directly from the infrastructure. The other benefit, not just within the region, but again right around the world, of the opening up of the RMB, internationalization of the RMB, is that it's useful for the world to have another strong reserve currency. And we're seeing that more and more countries now want to be able to clear in RMB, and there's a growing demand for transactions to be conducted in RMB. So yes, I think the internationalization of the currency is positive, not just for China, but also for the rest of the world. Well, the positive meaning is that many countries who would not have been able to invest that amount of money in infrastructure by themselves have now had access to a fund.